Good morning. My name is Rebel and I'm the Rebel Reseller, and today I'm going to be going over my what solds for last weekend, which would have been October 15th through the 17th. It was a good week. All in all, still not where I want to be for fourth quarter, but I'll take everything. You know, there's been a whole lot of issues with the latest update that eBay put in. When they do these updates, things happen, and you know, a lot of people want to blame slow sales and everything else on that. You know, it is what it is, and we do what we can with it. So just keep listing, keep listing, keep listing. It'll all iron out on its own, and then you'll be ready. Hopefully, you know, have lots of sales and just kind of have a smile on your face every time you hear the cha-ching, right? But I have been going through my required changes. I had about 300, which is okay because last time I had about 1,000 because they changed some categories in the toys. And I'm realizing a lot of mine are for those bears that I listed in the dolls and bears category, which I've kind of moved away from. I've been just putting a lot of them in stuffed animals. I like the listing requirements for that better. And I think a lot of times when people are looking for stuffed animals, they go to that category. If they're going to start there, you know, start at a search in a specific category, I think a lot of them would go to stuffed animals before they would go to dolls and bears. So I'm slowly but surely moving stuff over into that. So not a bad thing for me to have to change. You know, it's been quite easy, which is funny because the thing that they're requiring me to fill in is to say that it's a stuffed animal in the dolls and bears category. But it's all right. I've heard other people talking on YouTube about how they have a bowl and they need to list that it's a bowl. So, you know, it's just eBay trying to get their cataloging ironed out, and that's fine. All right. Amazing sourcing weekend. I thought we were at the end of the season, and oh my, I have purchased so much stuff this weekend, and we're going to do a haul video this afternoon so that I can start getting stuff processed. But let's get to last weekend's. You know, it's only 3 days, so usually these videos are a little bit shorter. So sometimes I like to take the moment to talk about something else, which I talked about the stuff with the changes on eBay. All right, first thing I sold. This isn't everything I sold. I try to pick highlights to talk about. Was this Fisher-Price Thingamajig. I picked it up somewhere. I do not remember. I think at a yard sale, paid $1 or $2 more than likely. And it still had its tag and it did work. So I listed it and sold it for the $19.95. This is a Playmobil Play Set. I bought a huge bag at a consignment sale. I paid $15 for it, and so far I have pulled out a whole bunch of things that went to like a castle set. And then I realized it took me a while to figure out what the mushroom was, but I finally did find a listing on eBay, and so then I used a set that was complete. I saw a box on there and I used it to pull the pieces out that went to this set. It was a very incomplete, but I put that in my description, is missing parts, and I did end up selling it for $20. These are Faded Glory jeans, and when Robert showed them to me at the yard sale, I'm like, this is Faded Glory. They're not gonna be worth anything, but they're vintage, and as always, I have to listen to him when it comes to clothing, because that is the thing that I don't know a whole lot about, and listed them and sold them very quickly for the $21 best offer. Faded Glory. Isn't that Walmart or Kmart? I have an offer pop up on the screen. All right, this probably might be one of my big sales. I'm looking over here at my cheat sheet. Yeah, I think this might be one of my big sales for the weekend. Again, I always talk about plush with rattles, and really plush with rattles and are made of terry cloth, like the washcloths. This was by Soft Dreams. I want to say I picked this up at that thrift store that was going out of business, and we paid like $10 a bag on one side of the thrift store, and then there was a second thrift store right next to it that was also being closing, and I paid $5 a bag there. But I ended up selling this Soft Dreams bear for $56. These came from my online estate sale. I had, I think, 5 out of the 6 in the set, or 6 out of the 7. Each of them is a bear that's given when they meet a weight loss goal. At first, I put all of them together, but then I started getting requests to just sell one. So I ended that listing, separated them all out, and I've sold 2 of them so far. This is the 50-pound bear, and I did sell it for the $8.75. This is Kids Preferred, the Hungry Caterpillar from Eric Carle. This was a larger plush. I picked these up. Kohl's has one that is out, and then there's a little rattle that comes out that has like a loop. And then there's smaller versions, but this is the 16-inch one, and it is reversible, and it turns into the caterpillar. And it's been listed a while, but I ended up selling it for best offer of $23.95. I love Eric Carle. I will pick up even the Kohl's Cares in that series. I pick these up all the time. They are K&M International, and they have a whole series of birds that when you squeeze them, they make the sound of that bird. I do quite well with them. You usually get them for $1.25, 50 cents at yard sales. And I did end up taking a best offer of $8 on them. Make sure when you ship them, don't ever put them in a poly bag or a bubble mailer. Make sure you put them in a box to ship them. These, I went back and forth before I listed them whether I was going to do the whole set together or sell them in sets of 4. But I did go ahead and list it. This is the Faltzgraff Winterberry software. Where did that come from? Take that out, Robert. Silver. This is the Faltzgraff Winterberry flatware set. We have the dish set, a whole bunch of them from a previous yard sale we went to. And I just decided to go ahead and list this all together, and I did take a best offer of $50. I think I paid $10 for them at an estate sale. This is another one of the Nutrisystem bears, and I did end up selling this 60-pound bear for $9. This is a Wild Republic stuffed animal. I see them a lot, and I do pick them up, but they kind of are in normally my bread and butter price range, the $8 to $12. But for some reason, this one was a little bit more. I think maybe it's older, 2010, but I ended up selling it for $18.95. Just an example of a bread and butter. I pick up the Thai Beanie Boos. This one had some wear. I don't even think it had its ear tag, which normally I put that in my stuff, but I don't see it there. But I did end up selling it for $7.55. This is Monsters Inc. Sully. He's one of those pillow pets. You know, he opens up to be a big old pillow. This is the second one I've sold in just like the last month or so. And I ended up selling Sully for that $18.95. I pick up all things Monsters Inc., but really all characters. This is Iago from Aladdin. I think he looked older. I don't normally put vintage on a lot of my stuff. It's just, if I have the room, I will. But for the most part, I don't. But I ended up selling Iago for the $16.10. I could be saying that wrong. It's been forever since I watched that movie. I pick up a lot of the baby soft cloth books. And then when I get around to it or I find them, I make small lots of them. And that's what I had done with this. This is kids book, soft cloth books. And I ended up selling them for best offer of $11. This is an Eden Peter Rabbit pillow, but it was only like 6 inches, very little, but it had a music box inside of it. I'm not quite sure what would be the purpose. I guess you'd hang it somewhere because it's had that hard music box in it. But the wind-up mechanism did work and it did play music, and I ended up selling it for the $23.70. This, I picked up a whole bunch of these at a thrift store. I had pinks and greens and blacks and I bought them all at different times, which I think it just must have been somebody donated all of them and then it took them a while to process them. But I ended up selling this one for $23.70, and I'm pretty sure it went global shipping. This is a black cat, Halloween cat from Beverly Hills Teddy Bear Company. It had some Playware, which I did state in there, and I had a whole lot of offers on it for much less, but I ended up finally selling it for the $9.45. These are Little Tykes Dollhouse Pets. I've talked about the Little Tykes Dollhouse in the past. I don't find that stuff very often, and when I do, I know I'm going to get prime dollars for it. And this weekend, we drove an hour from our home because I saw an estate sale that had a lot of the stable pieces, the horses, the jockey, some of the furniture, the outdoor furniture. So we went there, and I did end up getting all of it. I paid up for it. A lot of the like the picnic table and stuff, I think I paid $3 or $4 for it. Still not bad. But yeah, I was thrilled at that yard sale. I've got a bunch of vintage stuff. But they had, going off on a tangent, they had some of the older Little People, not the vintage, but like from the 90s, early 2000 Little People play sets with their boxes. But they took everything out and had everything priced individually. So you know, in order to build that set back up to fit in the box, like just one of the buildings was $15. Every Little People was like $2. But I contemplated going back on half price day, but it's an hour drive for me, and I just decided I wasn't going to. But it would have been nice to get a complete in the box set. I would have put it up there for a while. But, oh, back to these. This is the dog and the cat from that Dollhouse series. And I ended up taking a best offer of $40 for the two of them. This, I made a mistake. I had 2 different Taz ornaments in very similar boxes. I sent the wrong one. You know, I saw Taz's face and I didn't focus in on it. They opened up a return. I sent her a message that said, look, you can go ahead and you can keep this one and I will mail you the correct one tomorrow. And she closed the return for me, and that's what I did. That's the best way to deal when you make a mistake like this. You know, if it was high dollar, maybe I would have asked for it back, but probably not. Let them keep what you sent that was wrong, and then go ahead and send them the correct one. I don't do it often, but you know what? We're all human. We all make mistakes. This is some of the utensils that went to a flatware set by Lennox Medford that we picked up. It's been earlier in the year, I'm pretty sure. But I went ahead and I took a best offer of $55 for these. I have made a killing on silverware, flatware this year. Definitely check your comps when you see them. These are just 2 VeggieTale Nativity figures that I found. I went ahead and kept, there was a time when I would have split these up and sold them individually, but I went ahead and left these together, and I ended up selling them for the $9.45. This, again, is another example of ties that I still pick up when I see them. This is a Beanie Buddies. It's one of the 13-inch bears, and I ended up selling it for best offer of $8. This was kind of a surprise. This is a dog plush from the store Maurice. I picked it up, had to have been $1 or less, and I ended up selling it for the $17.05. My cheat sheet's kind of going under behind the screen real quick on these last few. This is Kelly Toy. Again, it's a brand I pick up all the time. It's what I consider my bread and butter. And this is a rabbit, and I ended up selling it for the $10.40. And then these are some Levi's jeans that we picked up. Again, we've been paying mostly $2 or less for our jeans, and I ended up selling it for the $18.70. It's picking up. I'm about up to 500 listings for clothing. So we're starting to see a more steady sell-through on them. We went to a churchyard sale this week. We bought a lot of stuff. They had their jeans for 50 cents. Shirts were $0.25. Sweaters were 50 cents. Coats were $1. All right, these next 1, 2, 3, 4 are Facebook sales. Facebook has been on fire for me. They are offering a lot of people free shipping right now, and I'm just getting, I think so far for the weekend, since I ship every Saturday, but since Saturday morning I have 9 more orders. Almost all of it is little people. But this is a Kohl's Cares Nancy Tillman giraffe. I did sell it for on Facebook for $7. These are boots for a Madame Alexander doll. I sold them for, she asked if I'd sell them for $4, so I lowered the price and sold them for $4. This is a Nativity Manger. I picked up all of this. It was an incomplete set. If it had been complete, I probably would have left it together, but I went ahead and I split it all out, and I ended up selling just the manger for $12. And then this was a pug dog by Furry Tales, and I did sell it for $15 on Facebook. So that was my sales for last weekend. You know, just keep listing. I know people are frustrated. Sales seem to be less than anticipated for fourth quarter. I think it's going to pick up next month, you know, but we'll just have to wait and see. You know, this is our primary income, so you know it gets a little stressful when you know you've had a very low sales day, but just hang in there. Hang in there. That's all I can say. All right.